the Overman Warrior Podcast.
Hi, Dr. Chalfman here. We have to talk about, now that we're getting through the primary season, we have to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy, and you know, the representative of the Republican Party, and of course, I call her the music festival goer looking Amy Acton, who sounds like she's always stoned, looks like she always just crawled out of bed, and I don't know that she can put together 2 or 3 sentences without sounding like some Grateful Dead groupie. How she ended up as someone who is running for governor of Ohio. I mean, if that's all the Democrats have, then they're not doing very well. And there's a lot of polling out there that shows them neck and neck. And you have the horse racing people who try to sell ad time, trying to talk it up like it's such a close race, and I'm not so sure it's close at all. I think Vivek Ramaswamy is much further ahead than polling shows. And there's a couple things that we need to talk about regarding front-runner status and the campaign in general, and how politics really kind of hits the boots on the ground. I don't think it's close. You don't take anything for granted. You got to go out and campaign. And really, you're campaigning for a 2 or 3% of independent votes. That's going to happen between now and the general election in November. And I think Vivek Ramaswamy is even going to be ahead of that in the margin, especially once Trump starts going around Ohio talking in behalf of him. And because Vivek Ramaswamy is Trump's pick. I mean, he's been endorsed by Trump. So no surprises, but you can tell a lot about the status of campaigns based on how other campaigns develop. So Amy Acton, I know Vivek Ramaswamy likes to take the high road, and he can afford to with her. It is not a close race. She is not a good candidate. She's horrendous, but she kind of represents the typical Democrat playbook from yesteryear, and that year has long passed. And I'm surprised that they're playing it the way they are. And then when you see how much Washington politics has played into the local Ohio governor race, you see Mark Elias aligned there. David Pepper is part of the Amy Acton's campaign, and he's trying to create the undercutting of the opposite candidate, Vivek Ramaswamy in this case. He's the attack dog, and he's been around Democrat politics for a long time, considered to be a powerful person. So is Mark Elias, and I don't consider those guys power brokers at all. I mean, they're not very smart. They sound pretty immature when they speak in political terms, and if that's the best that the Democrat Party has, they're in a lot of trouble, which obviously is the case with Amy Acton. You'd find somebody out there better than her, and she's the one who has the terrible COVID record. And I guess they thought they were going to suppress it and move on from it. And then anybody who brought it up, they were going to attack. And that's certainly what you see going on with Vivek Ramaswamy. And Amy Acton does not have any opposition going through the primaries that Vivek Ramaswamy has. Vivek Ramaswamy has the crazy Casey car guy people. I think that's his name. And he's not a legitimate candidate. Not at any point in this race was he a legitimate candidate. And you have people out there saying, you gotta recognize. No, you don't recognize somebody that's at 1 or 2%. And the same people that I talk to in the Republican Party here are like, why are you voting for Vivek Ramaswamy when you have people like the car guy out there? The car guy is not a viable candidate, and he's not going to work in the political circles. And it's the same discussion I had with people who wanted Ted Cruz over Trump in 2015, or Marco Rubio. Remember when Trump went out there and said little Marco all the time, and corrupt Ted Cruz and all the things he would say? You've got to fight those people viciously, and when you win, they all want to be your friend. And that's the way it works. And Marco Rubio is doing well on Trump's administration now. Ted Cruz did well after Trump was elected president, but when you're fighting against him and you're going through a primary or you're trying to get to be the nominee, you fight viciously. And, in a lot of cases, Vivek Ramaswamy is a really nice guy, a really honest person. That's why a lot of the things have been thrown his way, are phony, especially when you know him personally, as I do. Personal enough to be able to say that. You don't know what people do all hours of the day, every place they are, except you do know a lot about their core personalities. And you can say with Vivek Ramaswamy, he's a really nice guy that plays fair, doesn't like to hit below the belt. And so when he has criticisms, they linger out there. He's had people criticize him, like this Nick Fontes, I think is his name. And it's a thing. It's a podcast thing. This guy's out there talking about how Nazis should be supported or something to that effect. Everybody should be the white race. Should be the only ones voting in Ohio for some. Absolutely insane ideas. And they have this little sector, and they call themselves the radical right. I don't see them as right-winged at all. They're more left. They're starting to the left of where I'm at, and I would never advocate for any kind of supremacy clause that they bring up, saying that you can't be in elected office if your parents came from India, for instance, is what they say about Vivek Ramaswamy. And then you have people like this loser, the Rooster, with his long drug history, alcohol history, criminal past, absolutely bizarre stuff. Who goes out hoping that he's going to get to be, I guess, invited to David Pepper's next political gathering. Brown-nosing to people like that, the Mark Eliases of the world, hoping that you do an attack, make up stories in this case. And I happen to know that to be the case because I know the people. I know the people who are in the story. And it's completely crazy, this idea that Vivek Ramaswamy's been having extramarital affairs. It might happen with Democrats. It's not happening with Vivek Ramaswamy. But these stories get pushed out there. And then when you're the front runner and you know the polling isn't as close as they're trying to show it on the horse race daily charts and the polling results, you know that you're winning because that's you're getting attacked. And now that the primary is going to get by, and we'll get into like the general and all these other noisy factors aren't going to have relevancy anymore. The Republican Party will get behind Vivek Ramaswamy as they did behind Trump eventually, even though they kicked and screamed and yelled and protested. Eventually, most of the Republican Party got behind President Trump, and that's why he won and keeps winning. But Amy Acton hasn't had any of that. She's kind of a propped up Biden figure who represents huge centralized government, all the bad aspects of labor unions, the teachers unions, the unions that have destroyed the car markets, and she has no ideas but to pander to them. And of course, they're out there supporting her. But a lot of those unions these days are supporting Trump, and they're going to support Trump's pick, which is Vivek Ramaswamy. So the union talks are a lot more polite than they used to be, because we're talking about economic viability. And nobody destroyed Ohio's economy more than Amy Acton when she came up with all her stupid policies of locking down the state, with which the state still hasn't recovered. And the criticisms of Vivek Ramaswamy saying he wants to help Ohio become the #1 state, and right now it's not. It's because it never recovered from Amy Acton. That's what he means. The economy still never got out of that rut. So you can't go out there, and this is what the Amy Acton campaign has been doing. Mark Elias try and attack people who are attacking Amy Acton with cease and desist letters, so we can't get the media to get the stories out. And David Pepper being the attack dog, trying to make it say that, well, Vivek Ramaswamy hasn't invested in Ohio. He moved his businesses out. It's because the climate was so devastating. And you can't run a good business, in a state that's still struggling from the COVID lockdowns. And that was all Amy Acton, all day long, every day. She had to resign in disgrace. And this is the person that wants to be the governor. And they thought that they were going to be able to stick that story on the back page and no one's going to know about it. But when you look at the economic vitality of Ohio, why it is upside down in a lot of the measures of economic health, it's growing, it's getting better. You have great presence in the Republican Senate, in the House, been a lot of pro-business activity that's gone on in the background. But Indiana is a right-to-work state. And if you're not going to do that in Ohio, how are you going to lure in big investment? And everybody saw how the Intel deal fell apart. I mean, there's been a lot of opportunities that's come in. Amy Acton certainly wasn't part of it. There's a lot of opportunity out there that is waiting to see who wins this governor race. And if it's Amy Acton, those investment dollars are going to Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Indianapolis for sure. Not so much Kentucky because they don't have a very good governor. As they have a lot of opportunity, but not a really good governor. They have their version of Amy Acton down there in Brashear. So they're jokes. And Ohio, everybody's waiting to see who wins as governor before they invest any real dollars in Ohio. And that's when your economic vitality takes off. And there's a great plan with a lot of Republicans to work with the Ramaswamy administration. There's a lot right away that's going to happen. It's going to make everybody better off economically in Ohio, especially when you line that with the Trump administration. But Amy Acton has the proven track record of being devastating, and that's her calling card. That's the best thing she has to offer. It's her destruction of the Ohio economy under COVID protocols. And the Democrats think that she's their best option because she was popular to people who were scared of COVID at the time. And now in hindsight, that's a huge liability that she has to try to overcome. And Mark Elias and David Pepper have elected to do so by sending the attack dogs out, hoping to knock down the front runner, Vivek Ramaswamy. And he's going to win the primary easily anyway, not even close. And now you're going to get into the general election without all the noise in the background. The Republicans are going to get behind Vivek Ramaswamy. Trump's going to get behind Vivek Ramaswamy. And all these people, all these things they threw on the fence, hoping for it to stick, hoping that there was a little there, is going to turn out to be completely ridiculously false. And all the naysayers that tried to help Amy Acton out are going to lose credibility in the process, and they're not going to be there to help Democrats in the fall because they blew themselves up too early in the campaign, which is fine. I could have told them that's exactly what was going to happen. Any October surprises they hope to unleash, they've already done in April. And there's no surprises to have a surprise. It was all fluff and buff and nonsense that was easily avoided by the Vivek Ramaswamy administration. And I find it kind of funny to watch, to see how desperate and bad they are. But as they get into the summer months and get into the fall, you'll find that Vivek's going to pull away pretty rapidly. Amy Acton, the more that anybody talks about her devastating record, and again, when you're a business person, as Vivek Ramaswamy has been, why can't you keep a business open in Ohio? It's because unfriendly policies that have cascaded through COVID protocols, for which Amy Acton put in place, is why a lot of people with smart money have to go. And you don't just throw money away as a good business person just because you want to be patriotic. That's not how business people work. There are people who do stick around, and they pay dearly for it. And that's what Amy Acton's campaign is built completely around, is that kind of stupidity and bad practice. And usually that's why it's the government unions who want more money going into their coffers from confiscated taxation from people's value, that they're counting on her to keep flowing in their direction. But the independent money who can choose Indiana and Illinois and New York, Michigan, other places, Virginia, West Virginia. Ohio is competing for all those jobs. How do you get them to come to Ohio and not one of those other places? Vivek Ramaswamy has a plan and an understanding how that works. Amy Acton helped push all those people away, and that's still the case today. And it's hilarious that she's trying to say our gas prices are too high and the economy's too bad in Ohio, and Vivek Ramaswamy is somehow a part of that when she's the one that enacted the policies that Ohio never recovered from. It's hugely entertaining. It's going to be a very interesting election season, and I think she's going to end up sounding much worse as it goes on. She sounds bad now. She's going to get even worse as the months grind on here. And I think we've seen all that David Pepper and Mark Elias and their band of misfits and globalists can throw at the very good candidate of Vivek Ramaswamy as the Republican Party rallies behind him in the months to come. And they will get very excited as he continues to survive easily, just dusting off all the pot shots they've taken at him, the scandals they've tried to level in his direction. And when you're a really good person, it's easy to brush those off like it's no big deal, which is exactly what's going to happen here. And it's going to be a good season. But Vivek Ramaswamy is doing quite well. And when you see everybody talking about it being a closer race, it's not as close of a race as they want you to think it is. So, but you still can't take anything for granted. Make sure you go out and vote for the primary, vote in the election. Make sure you don't sit home and let fate take care of itself. Help fate along by voting, and vote for Vivek Ramaswamy, and enjoy with some popcorn all the good things to come as the race opens up and the truth of everybody's true track records comes out in full view. It's going to be good. Anyway, Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you ever read my book, The Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. Anyway, have a good day. See you later.
Thank you for listening. Coming soon, The Politics of Heaven in 2027. A treasure hunt through heaven and all human history.